What's up, girl? What's up? What's up? What's up? Just fixing my chair. There we go. What's up, girl? So, today's topic is faith over fear. And these are the takeaways that I had from my Bible reading today. And so, I wanted to go over it and share it because it was something that I was like, oh my God, these things are so impactful, of why we should have more faith over fear, um, compared to anything else. So it's about King Hezekiah. And so, like, if you guys are familiar with like the angel of death story, familiar with like where there was like an army trying to invade Judah, and like this was like a true test of like, were they going to have faith, or were they going to be fearful of this really extremely strong army of over 185,000 men? So they were definitely outnumbered physically speaking, but spiritually speaking, they were not outnumbered. So that's what I just want to talk about, is just what I got out of my Bible reading today. So I'm going to be getting into that. As you are coming in, make sure you give me a hashtag live. If you're watching this live, make sure you give me a hashtag replay if you're watching this on replay. This is my first live that I'm doing where I'm feeling better. What's up, Spartan Strong? And so yeah, let me make sure I share this also really quick to my community. Let's see. Do my Diamond Nation peeps so that they know. There we go. Live. If you can join. There we go. Cool. So, what's up, Cherry? So basically, if you're watching this live, then give me a hashtag live. If you're watching this at another time other than the live recording, then give me a hashtag replay. And I just want to thank everybody that's been tuning in. And this is a story that is so powerful, so impactful, that I feel like anybody could benefit from it, and that's why I want to go over it. But it's in Second Chronicles chapter 32. If you have a Bible, then you can just follow along. But in Chronicles chapter 32 verse 4, there was like basically this enemy, right? And this enemy could represent anything in your life that's currently an obstacle for you, that's currently a struggle for you. So this may be like financially, maybe you're going through a test, maybe your health, you're going through a test, which I hear a lot in my DMs from women who basically are like, I have prediabetes, or I have hypertension, or, I've endured strokes, or I've endured X, Y, and Z, where they've endured so much for their health and they want to get healthy so that they don't have to worry about these preventable diseases. Maybe your test is like someone pushes your boundaries, um, and you're trying to figure out how to not allow this person to um, push your boundaries anymore. Hey Atkins, hey Cherry. And so the enemy could literally be anything for you, but I want you to picture whatever obstacle that is for you. Then I want you to go ahead and assign the enemy for this story for the rest of the live. Okay, so in verse 4 of Chronicles 32, it says that basically the army was outside of Judah, right? The enemy was. But King Hezekiah, who was the king of Judah at the time, he said, why should we be providing water to the enemy? Because there was springs of water that flowed on the outside of the city. And so what they did was, is he said, why should the kings of Assyria come and find plenty of water? So in verse 4, I want you to picture yourself starving the enemy. Okay. So whatever you assigned as the enemy for you, I want you to picture yourself starving that enemy. So how do you starve the enemy? You're no longer going to feed that thing, in other words. So if it's like struggling with something health wise, for instance, you're no longer going to feed your body the things that's going to allow that health problem to live on in your body, right? Like you're going to nourish your body, you're going to cherish your body, you are going to um, give your body the proper fuel, the proper foods in order for it to be able to fight whatever it is that you are battling health wise. Then in verse 7, Hezekiah tells the Israelites to be courageous, be strong. He said, do not be terrified because of the king of Assyria and all the multitude of him, for there are more with us than there are with him. For with him, it's an army of flesh, but with us, it is our God, Yahweh, to help us to fight our battles. And so for that verse, it's verse 7 and 8, if you're following along, then at that point, because we just talked about in verse 4, starving the enemy. Then in verse 7 and 8, he talks about being courageous and being strong. So, and that there was more with him, them, the Israelites, than there was with the Assyrians. Now, flesh by flesh, they were outnumbered. There was 185,000 men in this army, to the point where the Assyrians insulted Israel. The Assyrians insulted Israel in the worst way by saying that we could provide you. Now imagine this. Imagine the enemy saying we could provide you with horses and chariots and weapons, and you wouldn't even have enough men to sit on the horses that we would give you. Now, what kind of backhanded slap is that? Like, seriously, just think about that. Where the enemy says, I could give you horses and you wouldn't even have enough people to put on them. So that's how outnumbered they were, that they were able to give that insult to the Israelites. So, but why did Hezekiah then say there's more with us than there are with them if they were outnumbered, physically speaking? Because he was saying that the heavens are with us and God is with us, and God is more powerful than flesh. So then I want you to think about, sometimes you may feel like whatever enemy is in your life, maybe you feel outnumbered. Maybe you feel like, sorry, my lipstick is coming off, but maybe you feel outnumbered. Maybe you feel like it's too much to bear. But the thing is that whenever you have God plus you in the situation, you're always going to have more with you than the enemy. So I want you to think about that for a second. It's like whenever that you lean into faith, lean into prayer, lean into God, even if the test, even if the burden feels like it's too much to bear, there's always going to be more with you than there is with the enemy, because of the fact that you have the heavens with you, which there's more in the heavens than there are. And as far as your whatever fleshly enemy you have that you assigned in the beginning of this lecture. So, okay, what's next? So we got verse 4, which is you're going to starve your enemy, whatever enemy that is for you. Verse 7 and 8 is that there's always more with you if you have the heavens with you, than there is that your enemy. And then let's move on to verse 10 and 11 and 12. And I'm in 2 Chronicles 32 if you're just joining. But it says that Oh my God, this was so hilarious. So then the enemy, King Sennacherib and his army, give another backhanded insult. He's like, and what are you trusting that you remain in Jerusalem while it is besieged? Is not Hezekiah, king of Israel, misleading you and handing you over to die by famine and thirst, saying, Yahweh our God will rescue us from the hand of the king of Assyria? Is not the same Hezekiah who removed you from God's high places and his altars, then said to Judah and Jerusalem? Okay, I'll stop there. But this is like so terrible how they were coming at Hezekiah and his people. He's like basically saying that because king of Assyria, they were so successful in conquering every single land. Nobody was able to withstand this particular army. Then he's like, how are you able to put trust in your God that has not saved anybody else? How is your God, your king, going to save you if no one else has been successful against us? Like, we've beat all these other nations, so your faith is in vain. So then he says, basically, you're being misled. Your king is trash, your God is trash, and we're going to conquer you just like we did all the other lands. Like, all you have to do is look at our numbers, look at our records. We beat everybody. So that's verse 10, 11, and 12. And I had put in the notes that the enemy was basically trying to get all of the Israelites to distrust their belief system and like weaken their faith and have them be fearful, right? And they also tried to assign bad intent to King Hezekiah. They also were trying to like basically saying like, don't trust your king is misleading you. They were assigning him bad intent when Hezekiah was like trying to save his people. He had great intent, right? So sometimes that will happen in life where like you may be like innocent or, you know, have your say in things, but people are going to try to assign you bad intent, or your enemy is going to try to assign you bad intent. So let's move on to verse 15, where it says, this is still them insulting Israel and King Hezekiah. And he says, now do not let Hezekiah deceive you or mislead you like this. Do not put faith in him, for no God or any nation or kingdom was able to rescue his people from my hand and from the hand of my forefathers. How much less will your own God rescue you from my hand? So again, this scripture, he's not only insulting him, but he's comparing the true God of Israel to all these like man-made gods, like wood gods, stone gods, gods that were made by, you know, humans, right? So another insult, right? So whenever it comes to your enemy, remember who your God is, remember what your faith is, and don't allow people to insult your faith or insult your God by comparing it to something else, right? So I want you to have that takeaway for verse 15. And then in verse 18, let's see, I just want to make sure. It says that basically the enemy kept calling loudly in the language of the Jews to the people of Jerusalem who are on the wall to make them all afraid in order to capture the city. And the thing is that the the people that were under King Hezekiah, they were taking notes down. That was their only assignment. Don't say a word to the enemy. And King Hezekiah had blatantly given them that instruction. Do not say a word to the enemy, simply take notes. But the enemy was talking in the language of the Jews to intimidate the Jews. When the people that were under Hezekiah, they were basically like saying to the enemy, like, speak to us in the Aramaic language because we understand your language. Just speak to us in your language so you're not intimidating our people. Do you think they listened? Do you think the enemy listened? No, they still continued to speak in the language of the Jews to intimidate the Jews, even though they could have just spoken in their own language, and the people that were under Hezekiah would have understood what they were saying. But this was a blatant, like, another like attack on their faith, basically, because they were basically like, you guys are going to close your walls of Jerusalem. You guys are going to run out of food. You're going to end up drinking your own urine and eating your own feces just to stay alive. Like, this was like so bad. So bad. It was so bad of how they were just like ripping the Israelites to shreds. Like, you're going to drink your own urine. You're going to eat your own poop. You're going to run out of food if you don't let us in. It was bad. So sometimes the enemy will literally rip you to shreds until you have nothing left. Okay? But it gets better. It gets better, I promise. It doesn't just end here. At verse 18, it says that they, in verse 19, it says that they spoke against the God of Jerusalem the same way they spoke against the gods of these other people that they had attacked, basically. And then in verse 20, let's see, what does it say? They kept, King Hezekiah, though, in verse 20, it says that King Hezekiah kept praying about this, and he kept crying out to the heavens for help. So verse 20 is a huge takeaway. So I read that really fast, but it says King Hezekiah, the prophet of Isaiah, kept praying about this, and they kept crying out to the heavens for help. So imagine this enemy is basically like, listen, our army is so huge, we could give you horses to fight us, and you still wouldn't have enough to fight us back. You wouldn't have enough people to put on the horses we give you to fight us back, number one. Number two, if you just simply close your walls up and don't let us in, you're going to run out of food. You're going to end up drinking your own pee. You're going to end up eating your own poop. And like, basically, you're going to die regardless. You're going to die regardless. So how devastating would this be if you were the king of Israel? It'd be super devastating. But what did Hezekiah do? Did he just like give up? No. It says that he kept praying and he cried out to the heavens for help. So where did his faith go? So that's where your faith needs to go as well. So then in verse 21, it says, then Yahweh sent an angel and wiped out every mighty warrior and leader and chief of the camp of the king of Assyria, the enemy. And then later, the king of Assyria went back to his own land in disgrace because he lost to one angel. He lost to one angel. One angel killed 185,000 people. Just one. Just whoosh, shoo, dead. Just everyone dead. And then it says that, so Jehovah, Yahweh, saved Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the land of King Sennacherib of Assyria and from the hand of all others, and gave them rest on every side. So then in verse 23, it says that the Israelites brought gifts to Yahweh at Jerusalem, and they brought the choicest things to King Hezekiah of Judah. And King Hezekiah was gaining great respect by all the nations after that. So Let's see, what did I put? So basically, the ending was way better than the beginning, right? Like the ending, the beginning seemed like a hopeless situation that King Hezekiah and the Israelites were not going to be able to get out of. It seemed like the enemy had them on lock. The enemy, number one, had destroyed all these countless nations and was successful. They were extremely powerful. Physically speaking, they outnumbered everybody, an army of 185,000 men. They said, we could give you supplies and animals to fight us back, and you still wouldn't have enough people to fight us. And they said, even if you just keep the gates of your city closed, you're gonna starve, you're gonna drink your own pee, and you're gonna eat your own poop, and you're just gonna die regardless. So it seemed like a super hopeless situation. However, what happened? Just like Hezekiah said, he said, be courageous and strong because there's more with us than there are with them. And the reason why he said that was because why? He had the God of the heavens with him and his heavenly army. And so with that being said, one angel, just one, killed 185,000 men in one night. And so you talk about going from a hopeless situation to now King Hezekiah gained the respect of all his people. I'm getting chills right now. He gained the respect of all his people. Why? Because he's always stayed encouraging throughout the entire time. He gave sound advice to his people. And he told them to put their faith in the heavens. And he set the example for them by praying and crying out to the heavens. And then he also sought out the wise advice of the prophet of Isaiah. So, like, a lot of takeaways here. And just like these 23 verses that I just had to share it. So I hope that you enjoyed the live. And it's actually not as long as of a live that I thought it was going to be. If you got some takeaways, then make sure you drop a heart. I don't consider myself a minister. I'm actually a fitness coach. However, part of my program is that, like, we don't just talk about fitness. We talk about, like, the whole being, right? Like spiritual, emotional, because that we talk about emotional eating too. We talk about mindset. We talk about nutrition. We talk about fitness. So if you're able to, like, heal the whole being, then how much more successful are you going to be on your fitness journey? And, I've even had, like, people come to me, clients and potential clients, saying that they're lacking something spiritually that they're looking for. And so that's why, like, and I've tried to coach in the past without my faith, and it does not sit right. It does not sit right. Like, anytime I try to hide it or, like, try not to talk about what I know, it just doesn't work. And so it always, like, feels good to, like, whenever I have something as heavy as this on my chest, to be able to just, like, talk about it and let it all out. So I hope that there's someone that watched this that will be able to gain some encouragement, whatever enemy that is. Maybe, like I said, it's your health. Maybe it's blood pressure. Maybe it's prediabetes. Maybe it's, just wanting more energy. Maybe it's fatigue that you're fighting. Maybe you're tired of being tired. You know what I'm saying? I know Cardi B and the Bible maybe don't mix. I don't know, but she is always like, "No, I'm saying." You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I hope that you guys have a really, really good night. Like I said, if you got some key takeaways, and drop a heart down in the comments below. If you watch this on replay, then give me a hashtag replay. I'd love to thank you for tuning in. And if you are interested in knowing more about what I do, I help plus size moms and nurses be able to lose 30 to 100 pounds without having to count carbs or count calories. through a more mindful eating approach. So, yeah, let's get it, Diamond Nation. And I will see you guys another day. I'm so glad to be feeling better, have my voice back without coughing every 2 minutes and coughing up blood and all the things. It wasn't cute. It wasn't cute. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye. Oh, wait. Forgot to close out. Remember, it's faith, consistency, and hard work that's going to get you to your goals. And faith without works is dead. Okay. All right. Now I can say bye.